Sometimes I have panic attacks, and they're pretty hardcore. And yesterday, I was watching Extreme Reality Check, my favorite YouTuber. She's also on Rumble because she can't upload on there anymore. But they keep her videos because she has so many views. It must be just a honeypot of money for them to keep her videos. And they do put ads on her videos, but I don't get ads because I pay that $12 or $13 a month, so I don't have any ads. Anyways, I was watching her video, which I'm going to give you a clip, which I watched maybe in 2018 or 2019, and it's from 2017. So I slept bad. I think I had panic attacks while sleeping, woke up sweating, because, I know I was having panic attacks. And this is where I didn't think I would catch the planet as an interdimensional planet, but I did.
Okay, what the hell? There it is. I got it. Oh my God, there it is. There's my planet. Oh my God, this is my planet, Hellion. I'm so excited. It's going to be
just rolled out into a different dimension. That's what it looks like. And now I've seen someone have it on YouTube like this before, but I never thought in a million years that I would get it.
God, there it is. There's my planet. Oh my God, this is my planet, Hellion. I'm so excited. It's going to be a beast.
Apparently, I'm not excited anymore, okay? It freaked me out too much. So I'm no longer excited. I had panic attacks. I have a feeling that we're all going to be able to see it shortly, maybe this summer. And I'm going to go camping looking for it. That's my project. I got all my camping stuff to go camping, to look for it out of town.
This isn't the first New World Order. In fact, on pages 7 to 9 of this classified document, it talks about the ancient gods, right? They're telling us that it's all mythology. But at the same time, they found this text so dangerous that they classified it and made it secret all of these decades because it says that this same type of cataclysm happened during Noah's era. Vishnu, Osiris, if it's all mythology, why would they have classified this document?
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Gotta say, Trudeau never wants this crisis to go away.
Never waste a good crisis. And when it comes to the economic crisis, don't waste it when it can have a very positive impact on climate change and energy security. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yes, so crisis is a chance. And thank you for your answer. And I may inform you that the European Parliament has finalized its legislation concerning climate change in December. And we were waiting for the new administration that we have the leadership together.
Periods of crisis are good because they sometimes lead to, the opening up of possibilities for alternative discourses. To use, this neoliberal discourse to push certain policies around the globe.
In a nutshell, Emmanuel described a philosophy advanced by one of the fathers of the Enlightenment, George Hegel. Students of Hegel labeled his three-part theory the Hegelian dialectic. Students of Karl Marx call it management by crisis, and it was adopted as a centerpiece of communism.
And that's what's happening in our world right now. There is a world crisis coming, and they know all about it.
Now, why I had panic attacks? I was thinking about that last night. And for some reason, I went to sleep with this video, okay? And some videos are so heavy and so deep, they do give me panic attacks, but I'm up early. Who wants to sleep when you're having panic attacks sleeping? And your brain's thinking about the planet.
Only do they know all about it, but they are actively covering it up. When I show you some of this science that they are using to cover this up, it's going to blow your mind. It's hard to even fathom that there could be something this size in our atmosphere and we wouldn't be able to see it. So that's why it's mind-blowing. So hang with me and at least just hear me out. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people who watched those first few minutes of clips of all of the climate chaos going on all over the world have already probably left comments that, oh, it's weather modification and the government's doing this and geoengineering and that type of thing. And I don't discount that. This is not mutually exclusive, these two events. In fact, they are using this radical weather changes that the earth is going through as a camouflage for them to do these acts of war with weather war. There is absolutely no doubt that weather modification is going on. Not a conspiracy theory. I will put the links down below to CIA.gov and NSF.gov where you can access these documents yourself and see these aren't photoshopped. These are straight off the government websites, Special Commission on Weather Modification. And it will give you the names of the projects, the universities involved, the scientists involved, the directors, all of it. That doesn't change the fact that there are massive electromagnetic changes going on in the earth, and we're about to see massive volcanoes go active everywhere, massive earthquakes, and that is not
2017. I have to stop this to let you all know that this video is from 2017. I seen it probably in 2018 or 2019. Probably 2019.
all going to be from man. Man is not the measure of all things. There are celestial mechanics at play here, and there are celestial objects and celestial entities approaching. Now, this isn't a real picture. This is computer generated by Yeti Dynamics, so I'll put that link below. But I chose this picture because it reminds me of what God showed me in the vision. When I had prayed, I prayed and asked. I actually didn't ask at all about anything like this. I just asked what was coming, because my previous visions over the last 20 years, just a handful that I had had.
Honestly, I didn't pray for bad dreams of what the future was, but I've had them since my trauma. I guess they started with my trauma when I was 19 years old, and the Vancouver police threw me in a police wagon, and to still a teenager, probably 105 pounds, for being raped, and let my rapist go. And after that, I've had dreams come true. I've had end of the world dreams since then. Trauma, if you have really heavy duty trauma, it does affect you. I had to go on Ativan for years, for over 20 years, just to keep my dreams from making me actually handicapped, because I'd wake up crying. I couldn't go to work. I looked like a freaking crack addict because I couldn't sleep with all the nightmares I was having. On 9/11, the whole weekend before, I kept dreaming there was a war in a high-rise. And I was leading people out of a building down stairwell, concrete stairwell. And I knew there was evil people in the stairwell, and I got to save my people. It was very bizarre. I knew they had guns and I had guns, and that wasn't enough. And I had to do something called moving energy to keep energy around my people that I was leading down the stairwell. And I woke up after one of these dreams, turned on my TV to see the airplane fly through the tower. No. And I had told a buddy of mine, who was no longer a buddy of mine, because he's nobody's buddy. Some people can't be people's buddies because they're just not truthful, and they can't speak out, and they use you to speak out, and that's not really fair. They use you to manipulate you for their own political agendas instead of doing it themselves. And I can't handle weak people that are that manipulative.
All seem to deal with war, and a couple with earthquakes and things like that. So I was asking God, what is coming? Is this really coming? And he gave me a vision of this, which a lot of people call the Planet X system, Nibiru, the Destroyer, things like that. But anyway, I was shocked at the size of it. What I saw in my vision, it was like this. It was unbelievable. You would think, oh, if we're going to see another planet in the sky, or we're going to see this thing coming, that it's going to look like the moon, or it's going to look like a second sun. But no, it was as if it popped out of another dimension. It was instantly, quickly, this size on the horizon. And actually, in my vision, there was a second object, slightly smaller, that looked sort of like our moon. It was cratered and that sort of thing, but it was also enormous. And it obviously didn't instantly kill us, because in my vision, we were already gathered together as a family. And I kept going to the window to look out at it. It was just too much to take in. And I was telling my brother, I'm like, I tried to tell you about this 20 years ago and you wouldn't believe me. But look, it is here. And honestly, I do believe this has something to do with coming out of another dimension, as well as physically coming toward us in the atmosphere. And that might sound...
Sorry to do this again, but honestly, that video clip I put at the beginning looks like it's going out of our dimension to another dimension.
Confusing or contradictory, but the last video I put up just a few days ago, I talked a lot about that, about matter and density and how the dimensions are overlaid and all of that type of thing. All those videos would be right here. Part 3, China's ghost cities, the underworld, ... I know it says ghost cities in the title, but I think it's, around 45 minutes in or whatever. I go kind of in depth into this concept. Here's the 11:59 video, the quantum leap rapture, the event horizon, falling stars. And in that one, I talk a lot about the atomic structure, how electrons are essentially the same thing as what we are calling these celestial bodies. And when they change dimensions, when they drop down in frequency, it changes the atomic structure. This is real and scientific, and that's the type of thing I discuss in that one. And then this one, the multiverse Mandela effect, glitches in the matrix. This one, I talk a lot about how these celestial objects are actually celestial beings, and how when they intersect our 3 dimensions or 5 dimensions, we are nowhere close to perceiving the total.
Just like to point out, when I first came across this YouTuber, I had to watch her videos over and over and over again. I'm going to tell you, 100% way over my head. Phew. It took me quite a few, 2 or 3 times of watching it, and they're so big. I now am going back and watching them all over again, because she has so much information. You just can't, at least I couldn't just absorb all the information. And where we are now, me looking at the planet, and with all these lockdowns, I have time, to go over her videos again. And now I understand it more, but I'm more blown away.
Of what we're looking at. We're only seeing the part that is intersecting our dimension. So there are a couple of deeper angles that I want to talk about as we discuss this thing, that it didn't just come flying in from outer space, from the shallow materialistic worldview that they've given us. But then I also want to show you the very down-to-earth, very 3-dimensional science and technology that these deep state players are using to mask this. So that's what I want to talk about today. How could something this big have been approaching for decades and we not be able to see it with our naked eye? Okay, so let's start with all of the unexpected solar eclipses. All around the world, there have been these mysteries for the last couple of years where the sun will just become eclipsed and it will go dark right in the middle of the day. So here's a recent one that most of you remember. It was July 20th of 2018. So a few months ago, 9 months ago, and that was in Russia, Siberia. And that was one of the clips that I included at the montage that kicked off this video. So out of nowhere, the sun is just eclipsed for 3 hours and day turns to night. Now, of course, they've scrubbed the internet. When I went to find the articles, there were a zillion when this first happened, but they have completely scrubbed the internet, and the only articles you can find are the mainstream cover stories. And yes, of course, we double-checked all of the particulate maps to see if their sloppy propaganda checked out, and of course it did not. There were the dust storms and sandstorms that they were propagating during that whole time. So they were saying, you know, like they always do, talking out of both sides of their mouth, sloppy propaganda. They just say, oh yeah, it was just part of the dust storm. Their devices, all of the devices of the universities were saying, no, there were not particulate clouds in that area at all. But this phenomenon has been happening for a few years now. Here's one that I covered it happened in Stockholm, and it was about an hour after sunrise, and then all of a sudden the sun gets eclipsed by something and it goes dark again. I posted this video, let me see, this was October of 2017. This was the same exact time that the skies went red over London. And here's one from just a few days ago. This is March 29th. This is on several, like a dozen cameras in Germany. After sunrise, all of a sudden...
Good luck trying to get information from those cameras now. In Australia, I went there last week, and it said all the cameras are broken in a real rude way. You know, the words were rude. All the cameras are broken. It's going to be a long time before they're back on. So that told me they've got some really good stuff to view in their skies.
The sun is eclipsed and it goes dark again. Now I'm going to play a little clip. This is from Jeff P's channel over at Nibiru Watchers. Since he already said it well, I'll just...
Now, I've already had most of my shock in 2018, 2019 watching this video too.
Let him in his own words go over these different webcams here and let you know what was caught and how they systematically deleted several hours of footage. You can see right here the time, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they deleted 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the morning, they deleted. And on all of these cameras simultaneously, which were all stationed in different locations. And it wasn't just like some sort of internet outage or whatever, because depending on the location of the camera, different hours would be deleted. And as always, I will put a link below to his channel down in the credit links in my description box, because this is how we network. If you follow the links that I leave, then you can go to these videos and they themselves will have links to all of their information and citations. So that's where you can get the links to these webcams in Germany that are live streaming. Except, of course, when they start to pick up these anomalies, like some enormous object eclipsing the sun in the middle of the day. And now again, I want to point out the size of the object we must be talking about, because I'm going to be throwing around the word solar eclipse quite a bit throughout this video. And we're not talking about the same type of solar eclipse that we see when the moon passes in front of the sun, because you know that transit happens very quickly. But we're talking about an object so large that when the sun passes behind it, it takes several hours to transit out the other side. Plus, we're talking about total darkness. And anybody who's ever lived through what we call a total solar eclipse from the moon knows that it doesn't get totally dark. Like this last total solar eclipse, the Great American Eclipse, here I live just above Carbondale, Illinois, which was the perfect path of totality for it. And it didn't get dark here at all. I mean, it blocked out the sun some, but there was a lot of sunlight still present. It didn't get pitch black like we're seeing from these unexpected eclipses. So whatever object the sun is passing behind for those hours is so enormous that it is blocking out all sunlight. So please do keep that in mind as we move forward.
This ought to drop your jaw. Now, this is web cameras in Germany. I will leave links to like 10, 15 of these in the description box, and you can investigate this yourself, because this is not Photoshop. Folks, it is March 29th, okay? Now, there's a lot of deleting and editing going on here. And see, every one of these cameras here are all doing the same thing. So, it's 10 a.m. in Europe. Where's the sun? There's 2017, March 28th. That's what the sun should be like at 10 o'clock in the morning. And yet, we go to 2019, we go to the 29th, and we have total darkness. Not only that, but something extra strange. I want to show you the editing, how they do this. Two things are happening, okay? So ever since the 29th, frame after frame, and then suddenly it's light out, okay? Now, another thing I want to point out is when you have your mouse over this website, you will see a thumbnail of the picture that it had that day. See here? But you can see that they're grayed out and they're no longer there. They only showed us the hours, and you see that there, it's even missing some of the minutes inside that hour on these as well. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, deleted. So what were they hiding? Is something wrong with the camera? Well, why is it happening to all the cameras in the same time? Here is yet another camera catching the same thing with missing time. Once again, you can see 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning missing, still showing the same hours. 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, still dark outside. 9 o'clock, finally the sun comes up, right? And that's supposed to be normal. Let's go back to 2018. This is how much light's supposed. 2017, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's supposed to look like this, not like this. Okay, 8 o'clock in the morning. Look at that, 18. See the difference? 2 different years apart. 2 different cameras. Let's go to yet a third camera.
And here's a video I did about 6 months ago that shows an object, 2 objects actually, eclipsing the sun. And the reason that the title line says observatory seized, town evacuated, FBI and black helicopters is because that was...
I'm going to go a little bit because I want you guys to go see this, but this is the last part that I'm going to show
That was at the exact same time, light sources, where the sun was going down in the west, but yet in the north, there was a complete other light source shining over the horizon.
Goes down and up. So that should not happen.
The next thing I'd like to show you are the Federal Aviation.
So you guys can go check her out yourselves. As you can see, she's got 136 subscribers. And she is absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. We'll take a look at some of these. Yeah, Christian. Now, for some reason, she took out the website that I see her on, Rumble, so I don't know why. Don't have fear. Fear's horrible. I knew fear was a horrible thing as a child. Don't have fear. Fear is only supposed to be there when you're supposed to run and you're in immediate danger. Don't fear the things you can't change. I know I had a little fear last night, panic attacks about this incoming celestial event, but I'm going to try not to do that again. Oh, people have been dreaming about this quite a bit. When was this video put up? I thought it was 2018 or 2017, but maybe it's not. 2 years ago. Okay, 2 years ago. On April. Unbelievable. Okay, I thought... She has another one that I've seen on this, which is from 2017. So... this wasn't really the video I was looking for, but I made this video for a wonderful lady downtown Vancouver, and her and my puppy are going to get together and hopefully make baby puppies.